supporter of this group, and I'm the Catskills Natural Resources Manager, Supervisor with New York State DC Region 3. And then over here we have Tom Story. He's DOT, also Poughkeepsie Region, and Tom has been instrumental in getting the logo signs on Route 28. Ed Franz, he's the Adirondack Forest Preserve Manager with DOT, which equates to a small percentage of his time spent in the Catskill Park. So we appreciate your presence, Ed, as everyone else. And then finally, Mark Bickelhop, who is one of the important designers behind a lot of the signs that you'll now hear about. So thank you all for coming, and I think I captured everything.
So who goes first?
TOD signs, however the state would like to work that out.
Everybody's coming.
As you can tell, we're not all that organized here. We have a number of handouts, and Dawn and I, let me explain who we are. I'm the Regional Real Estate Officer with the Department of Transportation, which includes Ulster County.
You need to speak up.
I try, my voice doesn't carry very well. I'm the Regional Real Estate Officer for the Department of Transportation, Regional Office in Poughkeepsie. Ulster County is part of this region. Dawn is the Regional Property Manager. She works in real estate. And property management encompasses the sign program for the region. So she is more directly involved in actually administering the sign program. We're not really sure what people here know or don't know about the sign program and regulations that govern advertising, outdoor advertising along some highways. So maybe the thing for me to do, unless everybody agrees that they know all this stuff, is to give you a little bit of background about signs and sign regulations along state highways in New York. In some of the material you had, there will be a definition of a sign, and I'm just going to kind of repeat the definition that's in here. So the sign is any outdoor display device, figure, painting, drawing, message, placard, poster, billboard, or any other thing designed, intended, or used to advertise or inform any part of the advertising or informative content of which is visible from the main travelway of a highway. And they outline in the handout material that you have, particularly the sign manual, different types of signs. They refer to official signs, on-premise signs, which are signs that are actually located on the property of the activity that they advertise. And they're regulated by the localities, local laws, local ordinances. And then there are off-premise signs, which are signs that are not on the property that the activity is being advertised. And they're what's typically referred to as billboards or outdoor advertising signs. Regulation of off-premise advertising is required along certain highways that receive federal funding, and we refer to those as primary routes. And they're also referred to as part of the national highway system. And Route 28 is a primary route because it receives federal funding. And because of that, the New York State Department of Transportation is required to regulate signage in conformance with the Highway Beautification Act, federal legislation from 1965, and some additional federal legislation, which is also referred to in your handouts, the 1991 Intermodal Surface Transportation Efficiency Act. Outdoor advertising signage is also governed by certain sections of the highway law and the New York State Adirondack sign law, and it's codified in something called the New York Code of Rules and Regulations, Part 150, which is also referred to in that handout. It's not directly related to TODs, but like I said, governs outdoor advertising, billboards. So we brought a bunch of copies here. If you want to take a look at it and see what it says about outdoor advertising, about billboards that are off-premise. tourist-oriented directional signs are signs that are located within highway rights-of-way that direct travelers to business on non-primary routes. So those would be highways that are off and they have to be, by federal standards, outside of what are called urban areas or designated urban boundaries. We brought a copy of the urban boundary map, and it shows that the area, the only urban area is that area around the intersection of, is it 375 that goes up to Woodstock? But outside of that, everything else is considered an urban area according to this map. These maps are made up using census information from, in this particular case, it's the 2000 census. And sometime within the next year or two, the urban area boundaries will be updated to reflect the 2010 census. It may change then, and I'm not really sure when these maps come. But what we're operating with right now is that map and signs. Other than that small area around that intersection of 375, signs can pretty much go up, TV signs, anywhere to 128. The TOD signs originally were intended as alternate signing for businesses whose outdoor advertising, off-premise outdoor advertising, was restricted as a result of that highway beautification. It was a way for them to find some alternate means of advertising their businesses. And at the time, back in 1968, when it was actually implemented in New York State, those businesses were entitled to preferences in terms of sign locations. Most of that stuff doesn't really apply anymore. We're so far past that point. They're intended to provide now directional information to public places such as natural phenomena, historic, cultural, educational, and religious sites, camping, lodging, food, vehicle service or repair, or other businesses or activities commonly accepted as an interest to the traveling public for that particular geographic region, and which do not relate to nationally advertised products, trademarks, or brand names. And we also have here a list of tourist-oriented businesses appropriate for TOD signs. TOD signs. The TOD sign program is supposed to be a self-supporting program in terms of funding. It's really a pretty inexpensive way to get your name out. It's the annual permit fee, and essentially what you get is a permit from the department to put the sign in the highway right of way. It's $50 per sign face per year. It's supposed to be self-supporting. I doubt at $50 it pays for the program. So it's really a pretty decent deal for people who are advertising that way. You get a permit from DOT. The sign owners are responsible for fabricating the signs, getting the back of the board and the posts, and having it installed in the highway right of way. Sure.
One of the things that I've heard is that it's hard to get these signs. So it sounds like you're saying that's not true.
As long as you're qualifying business, the type of business that's eligible for a TOD sign, what will happen in the process is you'll apply for the sign, you'll indicate what intersection you want to sign. The business has to be off of the primary route, and it generally has to be within 5 miles of that intersection. If you have to make turns at other locations between the primary route and the business, you also have to show that you have signing at intersections where motorists have to make decisions about which way they're going. That's a prerequisite. You can't send people off the highway if there's no follow-up sign. But other than that, as long as the location of the sign does not present the traffic or safety test, which shows
What's the typical time frame?